We had a very dramatic day with the revelation that some of the biggest clubs in European football are planning a breakaway Super League, separate from the Champions League, which is in existence at the moment. The signatories are six of the biggest clubs in England, which is Manchester United, Manchester City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea and Tottenham Hotspur. Three from Spain, Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid and Barcelona, and three from Italy, which is AC Milan, Inter Milan and most notably Juventus. They've now basically gone to war with football, in effect. This is going to be the biggest change in the history of football since it was an organised sport. It's hard not to accuse them of greed, to be honest, because the money involved, the scale of the financing involved, how much money they expect to make out of this, how much money they believe will be realised from driving the revenues further. It does seem to be first and foremost about money rather than the health of the sport, the competition of the sport, the integrity of the sport, I would argue. I mean, you really are messing with the integrity of football here. I think it's hard to look at it and think, look, this is not just about money, because it looks like it is just about money. Again, they will argue against that, but most of us are observing this, and I'm amongst them, think it really does come down to greed. I think the creation of a European Super League is an extremely bad idea because although they will argue it's very similar to the formation of the Premier League 2 or 3 decades ago, it wasn't a closed shop. And that's the difference here. It appears to be a closed shop where a number of these clubs, 15 of the 20 clubs will take part in this competition, appear to have a right to be in it for a number of years, although again, they're arguing around that. It is effectively anti-competitive. So if a club like Leicester City win the Premier League in the future, it will be extremely hard for them to be involved in the European Super League because there are already 6 other English clubs involved who have the right to be there. So what's the point of winning competitions, in effect? It doesn't smack of being in the spirit of football, in the spirit of sport. It does smack of commercialism, of Americanization of sport. I think in this instance, more than any other issue I've dealt with in football, whether it's ticketing, whether it's scheduling, whether it's just the organisation of football, I think this is the biggest issue where fans can make a difference. I think if the fans are really vocal, and some of those clubs are very well organised and very structured fans groups, I think if they put the pressure on the clubs, if they threaten to boycott, if they threaten not to renew the season tickets, if they threaten to almost resign from supporting their clubs, I think it will make a difference. Football clubs are different from all kinds of businesses. It's not just like buying a chocolate bar from a factory or something. This is a very different sort of business where you're basically involved in the business, you're emotionally involved in the business, you're invested in the business. I think they've got to be very careful. A lot of these supporters might become disillusioned and might walk away.